Yeah.
What's up, y'all? Shoe Booty Sports coming at you Tuesday afternoon. Coming at you a little earlier than usual. Of course, we didn't have a show last week. That was unannounced. It really didn't hit me till what was it? It was it Christmas Eve? I guess it
Yeah.
was Tuesday.
It's Christmas Eve.
I thought about texting you and just being like, "Hey, we're not having a show, right?" But I think it was just kind of assumed, like, "Yeah, we're going to be busy with family," and so didn't have a show last week, but we do have one today, New Year's Eve, the last day of 2024, and it can't end soon enough, as far as I'm concerned. It's been a rough year, and hopefully 2025 will be better. Some ways it's been great, some ways it's been awful, but that's just for me personally. Hopefully, it's been awesome for uh, most of you. Surely not all of you, but yeah, let's get to the sports talk. We've had a lot going on. Quarterfinals of the college football playoff starts tonight. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some bowl games and more. First of all, let's just talk about the bowl games in general. Um, I've kind of made, or no, not kind of, I've made the comments on the show uh, the last episode or two, it might have been last episode, talking about how bowl season's kind of lost um, its prestige. It hasn't been what it used to be for the most part, and of course, like the bowl games have been pretty great for the most
Yeah.
part. Now, there have been some blowouts here and there, and just uninteresting games, but the majority of the blowouts have been in the first rounds of the college football playoff. The rest of the games have been pretty good, and some of which have been great.
hmm
Even though it's in different atmosphere environments with NIL and the opting out thing that players do now, still the games themselves. I mean, you've still got players stepping in and contributing. The games overall have been really good. So some of the spirit I've lost for bowl season was kind of brought back to life, um, and not kind of was brought back to. It's still not the same, but the excitement, the enjoyment of watching the bowl games came back this bowl season. The games have been fun to watch. What say you on your end of that?
Fix say, yeah. Well, we all know your excitement wasn't brought back due to the first round of the playoffs because, man, what a snooze fest that was.
Yes.
Um, yeah. If you didn't watch it, you didn't miss anything. But yeah, I would agree with you. There's a lot of young kids filling in the positions where the guys are entering the transfer portal and everything else, getting some playing time, wanting to prove themselves, and yeah, they're making them pretty competitive, fun to watch games. So I would agree with you on that.
And I kind of started out just kind of having them on, just background noise almost. With my new job, I have to go to bed earlier. I'm supposed to anyway. Uh, and so it's just kind of been on and just something to watch before bed. And I find myself staying up way later than I need to, just because the game's been that good. Just last week, Arkansas State, that game, I was hooked to that game. I stayed up and watched the whole thing. I really like the Red Wolves helmets, by the way. Those were pretty clean. And then, of course, our Razorbacks played the following night and got the win against Texas Tech. Um, Taylon Green, the MVP of that, threw for 341 yards on 11 completions. I still don't know how that happens. I guess you just don't have a defense, and that's Texas Tech. This isn't
Yeah.
news, but it's still 341 yards on 11 completions. It was like video game numbers Taylor Green had. The MVP trophy itself is as cool of a trophy as you're probably ever going to see. It was as big as the Liberty Bowl trophy. Friend of mine who was watching the game with me doesn't watch a lot of football or just sports in general. Said, why do they have two trophies? And I was like, one of those is the MVP trophy. and my guess was obviously the Eagle one because the Liberty Bowl trophy, is championship trophy, is going to be the actual Liberty Bell, right?
Yeah.
But Arkansas is no stranger to the Liberty Bowl. It's kind of been their bowl in the last 10, 15 years, what have you.
Yeah.
Going back to even Petrino and like Ryan Mallett and playing in the either freezing cold or snow. I think it was snow flurries and it was really cold. I remember I was watching the game in Branson. This was like 2009 or 2010, one of those years. It's when the Razorbacks went 8-5. That's my earliest memory, I guess, of the Hogs in the Liberty Bowl, at least that I can recall. And they've kind of been back seemingly several times since then. Or maybe just two more times, but still, in recent memory. And uh, been good games. I mean, that game itself, Arkansas looked like they were going to run away with it. But even in the back of my mind, I knew this isn't going to last after that first quarter. It was what 21-3, and then the second quarter it was all Texas Tech, and then from then on it was Arkansas. I mean that was the game. Some
Yeah.
uh okay, so ending the season the way that it did for Arkansas. How are we feeling about Sam Pittman?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to think. It, I don't know. It could be worse, but it could be a lot better. uh, he did just enough to like not get fired, which is the Arkansas way, I guess. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. It would be nice if he just handed over the keys to Petrino, and then we started our, search for the next coach. But I don't know, man. He, I guess we'll be seeing him pimp along the sidelines with his cane for next season, at least.
Okay, well, if you hand the keys over to Petrino, then why are you starting your search for a new head coach?
I don't know if we just name him the interim coach, if that's a route we want to take. But
Um, you wouldn't want to just say, "Hey, just hand the keys to Petrino and let him have it."
you would, yeah,
Okay, just seeing what you meant by that. Yeah, I thought Arkansas would win 4 games this season. Just the fact that if you'd have told me they'd go
I,
to a bowl game and win it, and in the year 7-6, I would have been like, if you would have told me beforehand, take that or whatever happens, I would take that 100 out of 100 times because I did not think this team was a winning team. Of
I
course,
think,
it's a different
yeah,
team than they were last year. To be fair, it's not the
yeah,
same.
yeah. I think I was a little bit more optimistic. I think I had them at 5 wins for the season, but yeah, when it's all said and done, to be 7-6 and have I guess technically a winning record, I guess that's all right.
There's no technically, it's a winning record. It's something to celebrate. Celebrate this if you're a Razorback fan. They got to a bowl game. You even said before the season that they're going to win a game that you don't expect them to. I mean, that is kind of the Razorback way, and
Yeah.
that was Tennessee. That was Tennessee when they were number 4 in the country. Of course, didn't look as good as advertised against Ohio State. That
Mm.
atmosphere at Ohio State though was different. I mean, that was next level. Very fun to see just as a neutral fan, and yeah, they put it on. They put it on the Vols. I mean, that was how every game looked pretty much. The closest game was Clemson, Texas, and really that was only interesting for about 5 minutes. Um, but I'm like you. It leaves a good taste in your mouth to end the season with a win, especially a bowl win. And it just sounds good that when you're 3-0 in bowl games as the head coach of the Razorbacks, it just sounds
Yeah.
good to say that. Um, so yeah, I don't feel any differently. Yes, I think he's a good man and would be I said this during the game. I said he's the kind of coach that players love and would take a bullet for. Like how Coach Steelman was to us in high school. I
Yeah.
think Pittman, I think, is that for the current players. Like the guys that are there and not entering the portal and leaving. The guys that are there would I would say take a bullet for this guy, or at the very least, I mean, would just they're inspired by him and they want to play their asses off for him. Make sense? Or
Yeah.
do you agree?
Oh, I agree. I mean, that's why he was such a good recruiter back in the day for Georgia and for the Hogs whenever he was an assistant. Yeah, very likable guy. But I mean, I just think there was a reason why he didn't have a head coaching job before we gave him one. Um,
Yeah, it's he doesn't impress me as a head coach. I don't think he's a good head coach. I'd say he's a. I thought he was a good recruiter up until last year, and then we saw just
yeah,
as bad of an offensive line as we've ever seen at Arkansas. And this is an offensive line coach. But they did turn it around. They turned it around quick. A lot of guys entering the portal, but Taylor Green's going to be back, and really, if he's back, you got a chance. He's not a
yeah,
world beater, but he is a playmaker, and he's the primary reason that with a revamped offensive line, better defense, better defensive coach, all those things combined led to a 7-win season. So I gotta I'll give kudos where it's due. You're not going to turn around a 4-8. You're not going to go from 4-8 to 10 wins. I mean, well, Arkansas to me not a 10-win program anyway. I mean that's a once in a blue moon
10 years.
yeah, if that. But to go from 4-8 to 7-6 when your seat was pretty warm. Of course, the offense looking a lot better with Bobby Petrino.
Yeah,
It was yeah. It's I don't feel different, but I just feel better about the situation. I guess if that makes any sense at all.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
hopefully, you know, I'm surely, uh, Green's gonna be better next season, and hopefully, Russell does not change his mind for the fourth time and put his name back into the transfer portal. So he'll be back, and I like that other back we got to see at during the game. You know what I'm talking about?
Reed, was that his last name? The guy who
I
scored a
think so.
touchdown on the pass.
Yeah,
Yeah, I said this when he ran the ball after scoring that touchdown. I said that guy, and seeing how fired up he was on the sideline, he was clearly trying to make a statement of, "Hey, this is what can happen if you play me."
hmm,
And my reaction was, this guy should be playing more. Like
yeah,
he's done nothing but good things when he's gotten the ball. Now that may change if he gets the ball 20 30 gets 20 30 touches a game. I don't know.
yeah,
But I would like to see he's a hungry kid at the very least. I would like to. I agree with that. I would like to see him have a much bigger role next season. Who knows with Russell at this point? I don't care. Uh,
yeah,
but if you want to be here, be here. If you don't, go.
yeah,
But pick one. This is ridiculous. But
yeah.
this
Well, they better
is
hurry up. All them old Miss spots are going to fill up fast. You'd think.
that's true. But it's what it is until they get a grip on this thing, which is it's not going to happen overnight. We're going to continue to see stuff like this with the portal. But even though my frustrations with the portal and NIL have uh, been warranted and proven to be a problem, despite all that, the bowl games have been for the most part, very entertaining. Uh, okay, what's been your favorite? Not even necessarily just game, but just bowl, the bowl game that you've seen. And I
I mean,
mean, okay,
it's
okay,
just
you already know.
all around. It's got to be the Pop Tarts Bowl.
Yeah,
But
same,
the
same.
the best one that I've seen, or got to watch a little bit of happened today, actually, earlier today. Michigan took down Alabama, which, yeah, I'm sure everybody just hated seeing that. But yeah, I love that. It was a little surprising. I mean, heck, they were 16.5 point dogs and still beat them. Milrow looked like trash. Yeah, yeah, he looked bad,
Yeah,
but
Pop Tarts Bowl, definitely my favorite. The atmosphere, just I don't even know what you call it, shenanigans,
the
skits,
side, like,
hilarious.
how cool was it? Like on the sidelines, they had the sprinkles, like painted on the field, and the goalpost, like the yellow foam that's usually around it, was the Pop Tarts wrapper. Like, it's those small little details I thought were pretty cool.
Getting
That
to
and you
eat
toast a
them,
live mascot at the end of the bowl. Like, what else could you ask for?
and you get to eat like the massive Pop Tart, which is, I guess, supposed to be the mascot
I,
afterward.
I'm really curious if that thing tastes good or not.
I would try it. I mean, I've
Oh yeah,
always been a fan of Pop Tarts. I have some brown sugar and cinnamon ones in my pantry that have been there for probably 2 years. Uh,
classic.
yeah, but I say that, but because I'm like you never know when I'm gonna want a Pop Tart, so I just had them in there, and I don't
Yeah.
know if the lifespan on this thing. They'll probably need to throw them out, but they'll continue to stay there for a while because I probably won't touch it for another. If I even decided to eat one now, I'd probably just say no. Let's just throw this away and go get another one. Um, but yeah, it's the most fun. The marketing people for the Pop Tarts Bowl, I don't know what they make, but it's not enough. Like they kill
Well, I'm
it,
sure they got a substantial raise after last year because
and they
last
will
year's was
again after
awesome.
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spectacular as far as just it's a show. It's not just a game, it's a show. And it's a really good game.
It-
But
yeah.
going back to or it was a really good game. Going back to that though, okay. Cam Ward, I'm watching the game, but I'm in and out, right? I'm not paying like real close
Yeah.
attention.
Same. Same.
And then I hear at the end of the game after I'm pulling for Iowa State anyway, just because
Yeah.
if you're neutral, how could you not? And they take the lead, and I hear, was it Jordan Rogers on the call? I can't recall who it was, but he said, I'm going to put this out here. Does Cam Ward come out for one final drive? And I'm thinking, why is he not in there anyway?
Yeah.
And a healthy, just sitting out the second half,
Yeah.
like throws 3 touchdown passes the first half, kills it, and then just sits the second half of a bowl game.
And they're down, right?
Yeah.
They're behind.
Uh,
Like, they've lost the lead that he built.
yeah.
Like, it would be
And
very advantageous for him to be in the game. But he's just sitting over there chilling.
it's so weird. Like that, like they could, and to say like and the reasoning being like I'm gonna be which he is. He's gonna be a top draft pick,
Yeah.
and so I understand that. But to say like you're worried about that, it's then why don't you
It's
even play?
it's gonna make somebody pass on him. It's gonna make at least one team pass on him.
I would it would be a serious red flag for me.
Yeah. It would be a
Uh,
talking point.
Yes, but also, and I say why didn't you just send anyway? We know why he played. He played so he could set the NCAA career
Yeah.
passing touchdown record. That's why he did it. And as soon as he did that, he didn't come out the second half. So don't give me any BS about you sat because you're concerned about your future. No, you played long enough to set a record. You could have finished the game. I
Yep.
thought that was trash.
Complete trash.
Yeah, I hate it, and I don't understand the mindset of today's players. It's pro football, but it's ugly. Like it's not well done. It's not well done. It's not well managed. It's just an absolute crap show, and it takes the fun and joy out of it. A lot of people really like college football because they saw it as like for the love of the game.
Yep.
That's completely gone. That's
Yeah.
completely done away with. Um, I'm just a football fan. if I had a preference, I'd probably say pro football just because I want to see the best in the world play. But I love college football as well, but I hate what's happened to it. And the bowl games and all that do have a nostalgia to it. And you can rip Notre Dame and things like that, but or teams like that, but or Alabama. But what would college football be like without them? I mean, they're a huge part of that tradition
Yeah.
and prestige when it comes to college football and fandom and all the things that
Powerhouses
I
bring
love.
in the money, man.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Tri-
it's yeah,
Trickle down effect, man.
I hate what's happened to it, and hopefully, I don't know how you stop or solve it, but we this is it. We do this all the time. We're here recently.
Yeah.
I don't know how you solve it, but hopefully it gets solved. I'll just put it that way. But
It will,
still,
but it won't be anytime soon.
no. And despite all the BS, the bowl games for the most part have been very entertaining. So huge positive there. Okay, quick rundown of the games this week. You have a schedule of them. Let's do some picks. Starting out, I don't have my phone, so I'm going to have to rely on you to pull this up. It's in there charging. It's about dead. But first one
Talking
that
about for
pops off,
college.
yes. Um, yeah, I don't care about the. We'll talk a little bit on the uh, last week of the regular season of the NFL, but Boise State, Penn State. First one that pops up. We're both going Penn State, right?
Yeah, both going Penn State, even though our hearts want Boise State to get them. Penn State's, yeah.
Yeah,
Unless Jeanty just runs wild.
I
Yeah, I
don't
don't know.
I don't
I
see how
don't
he's
see them
going
beating them.
to.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's
don't
what
see it happening.
he's who they're going to key on and or
Yeah.
key in on, and I don't see them allowing him to do anything. I certainly don't see him doing enough to break Barry Sanders' single season rushing record,
What does he
um,
need?
like
100.
167 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do we have on the schedule of games for tonight and tomorrow?
Uh, oh, I'm looking at the wrong schedule. I'm looking at just the top 25.
Yeah, we don't need
Um,
that.
nope, definitely don't need that. Let's do this.
Dead air. But
Yeah, dead
so
air,
shout
dead
out
air.
for those of you sticking with us. Going to see Nosferatu after this. So while Brad's looking that up, going to see that. It'll be the first time. I can't remember. I think the last movie I went and saw in theaters was The Batman, like the Robert Pattinson version, and that was 3 hours. I liked it. It was just really long time.
I had the right schedule pulled up, but you threw me off whenever you said what other game is tonight. That's the only game is the Penn State Boise State game.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so let's just do some quick pick'ems for the rest of the games, college
Okay.
football playoff. So we just went Penn State there. What else we got?
We got Texas and Arizona State getting it started tomorrow at noon. Um, Arizona State's what's that kid's name? Is the QB's been talking a little bit of smack about Texas. So I don't.
And Quinn Year saying basically he's the better quarter. We'll see who the better quarterback is, something along those lines. If you just like, I don't know how you can't be a fan of a Scataboo.
Yeah,
I know that's how you say his last name,
Scataboo. Yeah,
just because it's been talked about during their games. I can't remember his first name. It's Scataboo. That's a fun name to say and a heck of a ball player. He's just a flat out football player. Uh, like Boise and Penn State, my heart's with Boise, but my head's with Penn State. Heart's with
yeah.
Arizona State, heads with Texas on this. You
Same,
agree? All right.
same. And then moving on, we got Ohio State and Oregon. I don't know why that's not the night game, but that's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So
I'm good with that because then I can for sure watch the whole thing. Like I am good with that because I'll have to go to. Uh, I'll, I'm supposed to go to bed early tomorrow night. We'll see how that turns out.
good
I
luck with
do get
them.
to sleep in tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm off work. Are you off work tomorrow?
Yes.
All right. So shout out City and
Yeah,
receiving the
watching
Cardinals.
football. Yeah, that's all I'm going to be doing.
That's
So,
pretty insane. Okay. I'll let you pick this one first. Ohio State, Oregon.
uh, they did meet earlier in the season, right? Oregon won by 3.
Barely. I don't even know if it was
Yeah,
three. I think it was two or one.
man, if Ohio State comes out and plays like they did against Tennessee, I think they can take Oregon. If they come out and play like they did against Michigan, I don't see it happening. I
Ifs
do
and
think it's a
buts,
close
Brad. Who you
game.
got?
I do think it's a close game, but I don't know. I'll go with Oregon. I'm still gonna roll with number one. I'll go
Wasn't
with Oregon.
wasn't the game at Oregon? Because this is a neutral site game.
Yeah, neutral site game. It
But
was
the,
at
the
Oregon.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going Ohio State. I just think they.
it
I
could
think
definitely happen.
this could be the period of time where the narrative on Ryan Day changes, and I think the winner of this game probably goes on to win the whole thing.
Definitely.
So I'm taking Ohio State, and I'm really not even on the fence about it. I got Ohio State
Okay.
in this one at a neutral site. Neutral site. For whatever reason, I just don't believe in Oregon, and I haven't all year. I
I,
know they're
I
good.
can see it, man. I've just seen Ohio State. They I don't know, dude. They've dropped the ball whenever they weren't supposed to. Oregon hasn't, so that's the only reason why I'm leaning Oregon.
That's fair. I mean, that's a fair judgment. But yeah, Oregon beat them barely at home. Neutral site game. Ohio State looked really good against Tennessee. This is a hungry team. Ryan Day is fighting for his life right now in this. Uh, Danny Lanning, heck of a coach, has built something special at Oregon. I could see it going either way. I'm going Buckeyes in this one. All right, next up, I guess this is the last one,
Which I
right?
think, yeah, next one, which I think is the trickiest of them all, is Notre Dame at Georgia, and Georgia is without their starting QB. But
Some
they've
people
just
might,
got some other 5-star QB just ready to line up in Philly's place. So
well, some people might say that's a good thing that Carson Beck is done for the year and is declared
true,
for the draft. Uh,
true.
I'm going Georgia in that. I like this Notre Dame team as far as talent. I mean, they can play. It might be a good game. Notre Dame might win the thing. I don't see it happening though, even with the backup quarterback at Georgia. I don't think they're missing. They're going to miss some. I mean, you can hate on Carson Beck if you want, but uh, he's the better option right now if he can play, but he can't. And so you got the backup, but still, I like Georgia. I like everything they do. Run game, defensively, and this quarterback they have will make the plays in the passing game when he needs to. At least I think so. I'm going dogs in that.
Same. It's 2 versus 3 seed. I don't think it's going to be that close. Notre Dame has made it way farther than I thought they would this season, especially after them losing to Northern Illinois. Um, yeah, I'm going to go with the backup 5-star to take care of business at Georgia. So I think they'll win by at least 10 points.
Going back to Alabama and Michigan, didn't see any of the game today. I was keeping up with it at work though. Uh, can't say I'm surprised. This is the first time that Alabama has lost more than 3 games in a season since 2007, which was Nick Saban's first season as head coach, where I think they went six and
And
six.
I can hear the whining now by all the Bama fans. Well, we just weren't motivated because we were expecting to be in the playoffs.
Hmm.
Like,
You showed why you didn't deserve a spot in the
yeah,
playoffs today.
they're not going to take that argument though.
See, here's the thing about that. Uh, the games weren't competitive in the opening round. They just weren't. I think that, but a lot of the games in the NFL playoffs in the early rounds aren't competitive either.
True.
When you expand the playoffs, you're going to get these type of games in the early rounds. I think I'm not going to say four was perfect, but it was pretty good. I mean, we got like four or I guess three really good games. Usually, that's what we've seen in the last several years when they started doing this. Uh, but I do think 12 is too many. I don't think 12 teams are legitimate national championship contenders. If you want it, I think to go from four to 12 is such a
Yeah, you
significant.
triple it, man. That's not
Yeah,
good.
4 to 8 or 4 to 6. You know,
4 to 6, I could see.
like let's reward those top two, those not those two we think are the best. Let's put them on opposite sides of the bracket. Give them a bye. Let these other two guys fight it out for a shot. I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah,
4 to 6 to me is the most logical jump and keeps things interesting and more competitive, probably. And but to go from 4 to 12, that's too much. But it's not about what makes sense. It's about what makes the most money. And I apparently this makes the most money. So
of
that's
course.
why
It's
it's
a
happening.
whole extra week of games with extra week of commercials, like all kinds of crap. But
Exactly. So that's why we got what we got. But if I could tweak it, if I had the power to do that, which I don't, that's what I would do. I would say, yeah, let's go to 6. Let's give the top two teams a bye, put them on the opposite sides of the bracket because that's the matchup we want to see anyway, probably.
mm,
So let's make that the most likely outcome of the two. And they did, and they even did that with the 4, the top 4. But if you want to expand it to 6, that's a good way to do that and still keep things competitive.
I think they just
8,
went with
go ahead.
what I was gonna say. Didn't they just go with 12 because that's how they do it in Division 2?
I don't know what the logic was there. I would have been even fine with 8. But even then, it's like, wow, 8 teams, but 12, like SMU was in the college football playoff and probably deserved it. Like that's the thing. When
They
you
did.
go
They
to
deserved it.
Yeah, like when you go to 12, it's like, come on. Because Ole Miss didn't deserve. I hear Lane Kiffin griping all over X. And it's like, y'all didn't deserve to be there. You lost 3 games, and one of which was, I don't even remember who it was to, but it was against a team you shouldn't have lost to. Alabama wasn't, what they
Kentucky.
were under Saban. Yeah, I mean, it's no, they didn't deserve to be there either. Uh, you're going to get games like that when you expand it to 12. It's just what it is. All right. Well, we've talked enough about that. Let's talk a little pro football. Okay. The one I really want to talk about, uh, we talked about uh, Ashton Jeanty and chasing Barry Sanders' record. Of course, he will be
Yeah.
doing it with 2 extra games. But still, I mean, you're going to acknowledge that as the record. And Saquon Barkley, even though he's going to be doing it, and I don't know, didn't Dickerson set this 21:05 mark when they've only played 14 games?
Yes.
Yeah, and Saquon is going to have 17, so 3 extra games to break this record, and nobody has still broken it. Like we played 16 games forever since 1984,
Yeah.
and no one has. I mean, they've come close, but no one's broken Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record.
Nope.
21:05. Saquon Barkley is 100 yards away from doing it. Problem with that, the Eagles have their playoff spot locked up. I mean, they are locked into the 2 seed.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Nick Sirianni, the way he is, how many times are you going to get to chase this record in your career or at, any time, but especially in your career? Oh,
Uh,
and okay, and just a little more sprinkles on the Sunday. You're playing against your former team who let you go, and yeah, against the Giants. All you need is you need 100 what? Like 100 yards to break the record or
yeah.
tie it.
Get that any sleep.
So, question, I mean, do you play Saquon Barkley or do you rest him? What do you do? What would you do if you were Nick Sirianni or Eagles front office?
Uh, I would let Barkley do whatever the hell he wants to do, but I would hope that he would want to go out there and make his old team just eat dirt and rub it in their face and say, "Man, y'all really made a big mistake. Look at me." But it's all up to Barkley, man.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, cough button. Uh, I go back to how many times do you get to chase a record like this? Like when the okay, I'll compare it to this when the Colts were 14-0,
God, yeah.
whatever year it was, 2009, I think, and didn't go for a perfect season. They were up on the Jets going into halftime, up on them pretty easy, and then they benched their starters the second half, and the Jets came back and won. And the Colts, of course, dropped the last game in the regular season, and the Colts go on to lose in the Super Bowl to the Saints. That sucked some momentum out. I'm not saying they would have beaten the Saints, but I mean that did suck some momentum out of that team.
Yeah. Gives you some extra motivation.
Yeah. And so I hated that. I watched that game live at my dad's house here in Cabot. Hated it. I was
Yeah.
borderline yelling at the TV the entire time. I was so mad. I had a blog, a sports blog then. Wrote a huge column on it in my amateur writing days, talking about how stupid it was and how much I hated it. Uh, Now the Patriots went for the perfect record in 2007, I guess it was a couple of years prior, and
Almost had it.
almost had it. I mean,
Almost had it.
barely beat that Giants team that beat them in the Super Bowl in the last game of the regular season in Week 17, and then you saw something there like, hey, these guys have something that gives the Patriots problems, and that's a pass rush. And yeah,
And miracle
Giants got the
catches.
better of them in the Super Bowl. Yeah, and catching off a helmet, etc. Uh, but I still love the move.
Yeah.
So neither one worked for either team. So, but my point is, I just like that they went for it, and anything can happen, sure, but I think you got to go for it. And it's too poetic not to do it against the Giants, the team that would
It's
have
too good, man.
yeah
It's
would
too
have
good of a
run your
story.
career. Your career would have went there and or would
Oh,
have died, would have
it was
flamed out
all
there.
it was almost already dead.
Yeah, I mean he was
Like,
irrelevant. And then he went to Philly, and we remembered how great Saquon Barkley was or is. We forgot that in New York. So I say you go for it, and I hope they
yeah,
do. I hope he gets it. I'll be rooting for him. Um, I don't know. You throw an asterisk on it if you want, but if you do that, you're going to have to do that with Roger Maris's record over Babe Ruth too. Uh, I'm pulling for him. I hope he does it, and yeah, that's that. But we are out of time, so I guess I'm going to go watch this movie Nosferatu and then catch the rest of the college football playoff game tonight if I can. But we'll be back next week with all that and more. But until then, I'm Grandpa.
Brother Brown.
Deuces, y'all.
Peace.